Call the meeting to order. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is a regularly scheduled Greer City Council meeting. It is called and convened this May 27th. And having called the meeting to order, I would like to ask Councilwoman Kimberly Bookert, if she would, to lead us in our invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'll join us in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. God, we come before you right now as humble as we know how, thanking you and praising you for this beautiful day you've blessed us with. Thank you for our life, our health, and our strength. Thank you for the activity of our limbs. God, we ask that you bless this city. We ask that you bless this meeting. Cover us in your blood, oh God. Allow anything to be said, nothing to be said or done that is not in your will. And it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. We set aside time in our meetings for public forum. This is an opportunity to address those items that appear later in our agenda. Ms. Adams, anybody to appear in public forum this evening?
No, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. With that, then, we'll move on to the minutes of our council meeting. You've got the minutes from the May 13th regular session contained in your packets this evening. We'll take that as a separate action from those from the workshop. I'll entertain a motion that we receive the minutes from the regular session. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Items of note for the clerk. Hearing none. Ms. Adams?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, the same evening, May 13th, we had a budget workshop session that evening. Those minutes are contained within your packet as well, too. I'll entertain a motion that they be received.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Any items of note for the clerk? Hearing none.
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, you have your departmental reports contained also in the packet this evening. You'll see links to those for details and more information. As always, I would urge you to take time to look at those, and I would ask Mr. Seifert, if he would, to give us an overview of the financial report, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Tonight, we're pleased to bring to you the financial report for the month end, April 30th, 2014. At that time, we have general fund revenue of $16,023,939, with general fund expenditures of $14,655,788. That amount is 3% under budget. Referencing our dashboards, we have a revenue benchmark with a positive variance of $1,252,520, an expenditure benchmark with a positive variance of $498,508. Those two combined gives us a total positive variance of $1,751,028. And the cash balance for the general fund at April 30th is $7,085,660. Moving to the hospitality fund, we have a hospitality cash balance of $190,638, with hospitality fund revenue of $1,306,745, and hospitality expenditures of $1,379,533. The revenues at $1,306,000 are 5% over budget. In our stormwater fund, we have a cash balance of $873,999. Stormwater fund revenue of $613,921, and then the expenditures for the stormwater fund are $618,387. Be happy to take any questions you may have now or at a later date.
Council? Thank you, David. I appreciate it. With that, then, we'll move to the administrator's report. Filling in for the administrator this evening is Mike Sill. I want to thank Mike for stepping in and assisting us as the administrator is away with family business this evening, and also for Elizabeth Adams filling in as well for Ms. Duncan. And We had Ms. Howells on standby, as David was away this afternoon, and so we've just had all kinds of people filling in this evening. We appreciate their dedication and ability to do that, and know that we are in good hands. And so with that, Mr. Sale, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Some calendar reminders. Coming up on June 5th, which is next week on Thursday night, we're kicking off our Moonlight movie series in the park. The first movie will be Happy Feet, which is always been well received. A movie that we had last year. That starts at the event starts at 6 p.m. It kicks off with we have inflatables, dancing, games with prizes, and some other activities going on. There'll be food vendors present, like always, providing snacks and drinks to the crowd. Just a reminder to the public that for those that are 16 and under, that they must be accompanied by an adult to be here for the event. Also, in conjunction with that particular kickoff for the movie series, we will be holding a community announcement regarding our upcoming Freedom Blast that's coming up at the end of June. We'll kick that off with some information that'll take place at 7 p.m. Prior to the movie that evening. The movie, of course, starts at dusk. Again, that's Moonlight movie series starting June 5th at 6 p.m. with activities, and at dusk with the movie, and then the 7 p.m. kickoff for the Freedom Blast information. Also, as a calendar reminder for council and of course for staff, we have our annual employee picnic that will be held on June 7th, a week from this coming Saturday. It will be held here at City Park and City Hall. That is from 11 to 2. You've probably already gotten some information about it. We will be sending out additional information reminding you of that particular event. We look forward to having you with us and having staff participate in an event that we have a lot of fun with, and a good time spent together with our employees. Also, as a calendar reminder, some information has been provided at your desk, and some information has been provided to the press tonight. We have a press release that's gone out regarding the Greer Community Master Plan efforts. The information contained in that press release is also part of the flyer that you have at your seat, announcing some of the upcoming activities that we have in regards to that effort. We have a website that is being deployed that contains information about the master planning effort and how the community can get involved, some details behind what the goals and objectives of that process are. And then we also have information regarding a survey tool that is available to the public. It's through a tool called MetroQuest. The address for the MetroQuest, the website address is greer.metroquest.com. The public and anyone is allowed to go online and answer questions about the community and what they'd like to see in moving forward over the next 20 years in regards to growth for the Greer area. The website address is plangreer.com, and that additional information is contained on that website. On June 12th, we will be holding an open house that will kick off the on-hands community input. Will be more information being flooded throughout the community through email, phone calls. We'll be utilizing Greer Chamber and those mailing addresses that they have to get the word out to our community about participating in that particular event. There's a full agenda that's involved with that event that will kick off at 5:30 and go to 7:30. That's on June 12th. It'll be at the Cannon Center at 204 Cannon Street. You will be receiving additional information via email in regards to that. And if by this time next week you haven't at least heard about it 2 times besides tonight, then let us know, because that means we're not doing our job. We're trying to get the word out about this, make sure that we get community input and the community involved in this effort, which is real important for us in taking a look and see how we want the community to grow over the next 15 to 20 years. With that, I'd like to close. I was fortunate enough to be here the last time. We had some information coming out of the police department regarding personnel changes. I'm going to turn it over to Chief Reynolds, who is going to bring up somebody you already know, but in a different capacity for us. Chief?
just like to announce that we have a new lieutenant who will be taking Lieutenant Hamby, Captain Hamby's place in the Operations Support Division, Marcus Kelly. He's been with the department for many, many years, more than over 19.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and good. We expect he'll do an outstanding job in that position. Just one thing for we introduce him to you.
Good.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Go ahead and take your time at the podium there. Go ahead.
He's a preacher, he like that.
Mr. Mayor, that's all for the administrator's report. There are no items for executive session from the administrator.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I'd like to ask Mr. Sell if he would see if an item is placed on our agenda at some point in the near future, if council so wishes. But I'd like for council to have a discussion about an ordinance which I guess states that when our fund balance reaches that 35% that we want it to be of our total budget, then those two mills that we put in place to replenish that fund is rolled back.
Mr. Airwood, I'll make a note of it and bring it to the administrator's attention.
All right, with that then, we'll move to items of old business. First item of old business, and the only item of old business before us this evening, is the second and final reading of ordinance number 8-2014. This is an ordinance to amend the City of Greer Code of Ordinances, Chapter 10, Animals, Article 2, Livestock, by amending Section 1031, Possession of Livestock, A and C, adding Section 1032, Raising or Keeping of Domesticated Female Chickens. As you are aware, we had quite a bit of discussion on this at our last meeting, including two amendments, both of which passed. This comes to you for second reading. I'll entertain a motion to receive. In a second, at that time, the floor will be open.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, floor is open for discussion, comment, questions?
I had one question. I know it's talked about apparently the coops that the hens would be in, and then maybe a fenced running area. Was that correct? An area that they wouldn't have to stay in their pen?
It's within the coop.
No, what, the amendment was to address, and certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but the amendment was to address the actual coop. There are some coops that are mobile and they don't have a floor in them so that the chickens can feed directly on the ground or the grass, and the coop can be moved to various different places in the yard as long as they meet the parameters here. So the intent was that they would still be caged, but rather than having a fixed location, it could be moved within the yard.
All right, so they will actually stay in a coop. I was under maybe I saw it on YouTube or something where they had their little coop and then they had a fenced area too. So I was just wondering how they were going to keep them in the fenced area.
Well,
So-
the original said must be confined in a coop with an enclosed solid floor.
Right.
We struck solid floor so that it could be used in a fashion that would allow for some mobility. Again, within the restrictions that are outlined, so it won't be wherever you want them. It's still going to be within the restrictions as listed.
You have the coop and then there's
There's
a
a
fence that
list.
surrounds it. And then it actually in the ordinance says how many square feet you have to allow per chicken.
Right, so they do have an area they can go outside the coop, is that what you're saying?
They're
Or
still
it's
in the
just all
coop.
within?
It's all within the coop.
All
It's a
within
little
the coop.
section on the
Right.
end of the
Okay.
coop that they can
They're
walk
not
out.
they're not
Runner.
wandering freely in the
Okay.
yard.
Right.
Yeah, what I was wondering if it was that fenced little area about hopping over the fence, so.
Well, I don't think
They
they
can't
can do
fly.
that because it says in here that they have to be protected from predators. So.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Others? Comments? Questions? Hearing none, Ms. Adams?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. With that, then we'll move to items of new business, the first of which is the reading of ordinance number 9-2014. This is the City of Greer Budget Ordinance Fiscal Year 2014-2015. This is an ordinance relating to the fiscal affairs of the City of Greer, South Carolina, making appropriations therefore, levying taxes, and to provide for an effective date. This comes to us here for first reading, and we will entertain any motion either from Mr. Sale or Mr. Seifert in regards to any updates or changes that may have taken place in the last 2 weeks and or not. I don't see either one of them making their way to the podium, so we're going to assume that what you have got is the latest up-to-date changes and forecasts, and we will go with that. I will ask for a motion. A second, then we'll open the floor for discussion. Do I hear a motion to receive?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion. Mr. Seifert and Mr. Seifert is available for questions or comments in regards to the budget ordinance, as is Mr. Sell if necessary.
I don't know if you can answer these questions tonight, but I'm just curious if Obamacare impacted our budget at all yet.
If you'll come to the podium, please, sir.
In and of itself, it has not. We, being self-insured, there are certain parameters and changes that apply, some that don't. The specific applications of dual products are being reviewed by our agent, if you will. He helps us with our plan and with our third-party administrator with the insurance and developing the whole model of the plan. There are a few costs, I can't remember specifically what they are, that will apply. They are minimal compared to the whole plan, just a couple of dollars per person per month. But our whole budget has not changed on a per person basis in this will be about the fourth year that we have not raised our budget for health benefits.
So we don't really know of any major impacts yet, right?
Not yet.
How about retirement? How are we stand with our stranded retirement costs and, trying to keep pace with socking that money away, so to speak? Where do we stand with that?
Which retirement costs are not for?
For our employees.
State retirement?
Employees, yeah.
The state retirement plan through PETA, this is the organization that took over for that, is raising their rates, and they've got a listed 2 or 3 year schedule to raise rates. We're in year 2 of 3, if I remember correctly. They raise it about 0.5% per year, but we'll keep you pace with that.
So for a few years there, we talked about catching up for our retirees that we have out there now.
Right.
Well, where do we stand with that?
And with the health benefits for retirees, if you remember in 2010 during the recession, we put a window where people could retire and still be eligible for the plan. That technically closed and is closed at June 30th, 2013, so nobody that retired at this point is even eligible for the plan. We have about, I think there are 9 retirees that are currently in the health benefit plan, and as they reach age 65, they will age out, and they will not be covered under our plan anymore as they become eligible for Medicare. Now, what's called the ARC is our annual required contribution.
Right.
That used to be several $100,000 a year. When we stopped the plan and closed the plan, that significantly reduced. For the last 2 or 3 years, we've paid about $32,000 to $35,000 a year. We just had our evaluation again this year, and has now dropped to about $20,000 to $22,000. And that will remain until it's paid out. It's a relatively small amount.
I know it's not part of our budget, but I believe it is part of our fiduciary duty. Can we get from the beginning to now accounting of the Heinemann money and how it's been spent? The Billy Heinemann, I haven't seen that in a while, and I'd like to see it from start to finish and where we stand now, if that's possible.
I think the last time we had presented that would be during the retreat, but we can certainly do a good list.
on Fund 9, which is recreation, I've noticed, and again, you may not be able to answer this, it may take a hand to answer this. I've noticed that they have about as many programs that lose money as make money. Thankfully, the amount that make money is more than those that lose money. Do they just go into their budgeting saying every year, we don't care if we make money or not, this is what we're going to have to spend, or do you know?
That's not that will help. They know that certain sports are more expensive. Football is one of the most expensive sports, and it does not make money. But to make it affordable to everyone, they try to balance out the cost across all programs, knowing that some will lose money and others will supplement that.
Okay, so they just kind of, from historic data, they say, okay, we know we're going to make 10,000 here, so we're going to lose 10,000 here. Okay, I didn't know if they, if that mattered or not.
It is a balancing act, trying to make it affordable for everyone. Using football, for instance, if they put all of the costs for football into football, then that would make it really kind of unaffordable
Yep.
for.
Oh, so they even balance out the costs among other.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's good.
So our fees across the board are relatively stable for all sports.
Yeah.
Some are significantly cheaper than others. Football's expensive, so
Yeah.
you know they use other programs to supplement more expensive programs to keep a balanced cost for everybody.
That's good. Very good. The new trash, I know we'll talk about it a little bit later, the new trash proposal. My understanding was that it's going to take a different container for each household, is that right?
I'm not aware of that.
But I think they said it will not accommodate the existing trash containers that we have.
Mr. Betts, I'll make a note of it, follow up and get you the information.
We could use the same
Well,
one.
that was my understanding.
Well, maybe I misunderstood, but I thought they said that it was going to take a different container to do that.
They talked about going to a different container for recycling if we wanted to use
Co-
a all-in-one
Roll-in.
container,
Right.
a rollout container.
Okay. Check on that if you would.
Correct. I believe that's, from discussions I had with Mr. Driggers this morning, that there is some discussion about expanding our recycling program, and the indication is that if we do that, we will have to use a different container,
Right.
because they will want to load it the same way that they load the current trash containers.
Right.
Instead of using that small square rectangular bucket thing, they'll use a cart similar to the trash cart that we have.
Okay. All right.
But I will
I think as
verify.
long, I think as long as they're using the new style container, the one that towards the top has a semi-rounded edge to it that's got 3 or 4 like bubbles, I think the arm can pick that up.
Okay.
The old completely rectangular one would be the ones that would have to be replaced, but I think most of this
I think
is
they're
phased out at
yeah.
this point in time.
Okay.
But the ones that have that semi-rounded piece up near the top, the arm can grab that one and lift it up.
Okay, all right. Well, if you would check on that, let me know.
I will, sir.
The only other thing I have is on the capital equipment fund, number 10, could you go down through there and give me just a brief rundown on some of the things that we're buying?
Do you have any in particular, or?
Well, it just says city complex technology, 31,000. Are we replacing, upgrading, adding, or all of the above?
Yes, so that line is for the event halls here. Right now, if you listen, there's a humming. That's coming from our amplifiers there in the Navy room. Some of actually all of our mics, not the ones that are plugged in, our handheld mics are now end of life. They're not made anymore. We can't get parts for them. So we're having to replace the mics and replace the amps. That'll give us more volume in here and take away this humming. So that's replacing the audio system in these halls.
Wasn't much of a life on the mics, was it? Wow.
What, 5 years?
I got some I've had 30 years. So maybe not let me pick them out.
Just don't make them as good as they used to.
Those are really hung with all those
Some
tubes
do.
on there.
You have to wait 10 minutes for yours to warm up.
Is this, I see here that we're buying an aerial camera.
That's the plan, yes, sir.
Is that a police thing?
Have you seen the video from the fire? Over at,
Not from the sky, no.
okay, there was a resident there that had one, and he flew over the scene the next day. And it really started sparking ideas in the code department, fire department, police department, through inspections and for the fire department, helping control fire scenes from an aerial view.
Right.
For police and some of the searches or something they may need to do. For codes department doing roof inspections and aerial inspections that will keep the employee on the ground rather than having to climb around on the roof and maybe unsafe.
So we're talking about a drone, basically, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and not that I encourage you to spend more, but 2,000 just seems awfully cheap for that.
They range anywhere from $300 up to about $10,000.
Wow.
And the models that we've looked at, the 2000 model range would be sufficient for them.
Interesting. I see this is the year for a lot of turnout gear for the fire department.
Yes, sir. Those have a replacement on 3 years, is that right, Aaron?
Something like that.
Police department, 167,000 for vehicle, that's one or more than one.
That is, that is for 7 vehicles.
You gonna get 7, you gonna get 6.
No, no, it's 7. It's 4 patrol cars, Dan's right, it's 6 vehicles, excuse me. 4 patrol cars, 1 CID, and 1 SRO vehicle.
Okay. I think that's all the major questions I had. I'll probably think of more.
Those vehicles were the same number that you gave us the last time, correct, Mike? That
Excuse me.
167 is included in the numbers you gave us last?
Yes,
of the week
yes,
last-
and that is for the vehicle cost, and there's a couple other line items in there for equipment. One was for the MDTs, and then the other is, MDTs, and then the outfitting the vehicles with lights and everything. There's 3 items in there, line items.
Others?
David,
Wait.
when or how far along in the budget or the budget cycle do you anticipate we'll have to obtain a TAN? Yeah, I know that's been one of our goals, is to try to decrease the amount of time and then completely.
We've been tracking well ahead of schedule. At the rate that we're budgeted to get there, we would be another 5 to 8 years, but depending on how we turn out this year, it's significant at that period.
What is significantly?
2 to 3 years. That's just the estimate without looking at the right numbers.
That's real good.
Again, barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Sinkholes.
Yes.
Major.
Others?
I did want to look into, I don't know, maybe adding it or amending it for council and mayor's pay on there. So I don't know if that can be changed now or when that would need to be addressed. I did ask about it, and it'd probably be the best time for it to be brought to attention since my election will be coming up, and I don't know if I'm going to run again. So I would want whoever is here, and I think a couple of us would be running. Definitely, if council doesn't agree with it for ourselves, at least for the mayor, because I do think his pay, like sucks, but.
And that is, correct me if I'm wrong, the way I understand it is, if council so chooses, that is for the next city council.
Right,
So it would not affect this current budget year.
Correct.
It would affect the future.
correct. So I would like to see that. I don't know how, or the process that we would need to go through to amend that or change that, or.
At
What do we go through?
the council's discretion to prepare that ordinance and to.
Okay, so I would like to make an amendment to change the budget for council and mayor for the next budget session.
Is there an amount?
No, I don't know. That would be on y'all, I guess.
It would be following the next general election, so that would be for the
It wouldn't be this budget.
2 years.
15, 16 budget.
Correct.
No.
You can make the change for the 2016 budget to take effect in 2017 when that, or, no, excuse me, 20.
No, no.
Next year.
So when the next election is 2015.
January 16, huh?
Right. And if this time next year in the budget, if there is a council increase in pay, it would take effect January 1st of 2016.
Correct.
So we
So-
don't have to do it now then?
You do not have to do it in this budget. You can at council's discretion if you so desire, but it could be something to consider in the next budget as well. Any changes, of course, to the budget this time, there would have to be, we would have to either change in revenue to accommodate the increase or a change in expenses that we already have. The budget that you have before you is a balanced budget. So any addition to the budget would, or it'd have to be a corresponding increase in revenue or a change in, if you want to make an amendment, well, it wouldn't go into effect till January 1st of the following year, so it could be done separately from the budget if you want to approach it separately from the budget. But if you want to make an amendment now, it wouldn't affect this budget. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because it wouldn't change, it can't happen until after the next election.
Okay.
It can't happen until after the next
Right, that's
election,
what I
which will
meant.
occur after the budget that we're in now.
Okay, so
Or the
let's,
budget we're getting ready to pass.
yeah, let's clarify it though, because if we amend,
Yeah, we don't want to amend this one.
well,
Be unspent money. So we got to, there's no point.
The election will be next year.
November 15th?
Yes.
End of the year?
Yes.
2015.
Not, 2015, correct.
Right, 16.
so could we, I don't know that we want to amend this budget.
So we got a year to think about
It
it.
would be a
Got a year
separate-
to-
Very good.
So it can come as a separate action altogether.
Come as a separate action.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be part of this budget.
An increase in the line item for council pay would not be reflected in this budget because it would not occur until January 1st of
And it
2016.
would
Yeah, I
only be
knew it
a
would be
partial
this
impact
much.
on next year's budget since it wouldn't start till January.
That is correct. It would be a half of a year.
Moving on, we're good.
All right.
But we'll make a note of it and make sure that we bring it to council's consideration.
Others? Comments? Questions? Ms. Adams?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Ms. Booker,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, we'll go to the first reading of ordinance number 10-2014. This is an ordinance consenting to the inclusion of certain property within the boundaries of that certain joint county industrial and business park established pursuant to the agreement for the development of a joint county industrial and business park by and between Spartanburg County, South Carolina and Union County, South Carolina, dated as of December 28th, 2007. Mr. Reno Deaton, who is Executive Director of the Greer Development Corporation, will bring us more information in that regard. Mr. Deaton.
Mayor and Council, good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to present this request on behalf of Greer Development Corporation and our partners in Spartanburg County to include property in the multi-county industrial park. Legal description of the property is included in the ordinance. It's 531 Brookshire Drive. That is the former T.W. Fittings building, now operation by Michelin. Multi-county industrial park is a incentive tool that we frequently use here in Greer. Number of advantages, probably the one that most interests you is it is an incentive to encourage job creation by a company. It increases the job development tax credit available for a company that creates qualifying new jobs and maintains those job opportunities. Again, an incentive that we frequently use and question consideration this evening.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion to receive.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Floor is open for discussion or questions of Mr. Deaton.
How did Union County get involved in this?
To establish a multi-county industrial park, the county needs to make the agreement with a contiguous county. It's up to the county to decide which contiguous county I think we'll agree with. In this case, Spartanburg County chose Union County to be that contiguous partner of multi-county statute.
Gotcha.
And how does this benefit Greer?
It encourages, as I said, job creation on the site. Normally, job development tax credit presents a tax credit for qualifying new jobs created by the ministry. This enhances that tax credit for the company that creates those new jobs. So it becomes, in turn, an incentive for the company to choose the location as well as to create qualifying new jobs. And for us, new jobs means 3 ways.
Reno, in regards to jobs, do we know what the average salary or pay will be?
I don't have that information on hand. I'll be happy to get that for you following this meeting, but we're very comfortable that this is a job created higher than the county average.
Send them over when you have a chance, please.
Yes, sir. Happy to do so.
Others? Mr. Eaton, we thank you for your work on this. Appreciate the information this evening. Hearing no more questions, Ms. Adams?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes?
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, as we have been kept abreast of lately, there are some revisions to our contract with ACE Environmental South Carolina LLC. This is the company that helps us with our garbage pickup, as has been mentioned under the provisions of our existing contract with ACE. The contract cannot be transferred without the consent of the city, and ACE is restructuring the company to form a new LLC. City administrator has been in negotiations with them regarding that, and they have forwarded information to him that has been passed along to us, and we are being asked tonight to allow the city administrator to execute a revised contract agreement under the terms and conditions that have been identified to the city council, most specifically to information that we received in the executive session at our May 13th, 2004 meeting. Given that and any updates and revisions to that, of which I don't think there have been any additional revisions of note, Mr. Greer has asked for our approval to execute the revised contractual arrangement. Entertain a motion in regards, well, let's see. We will have to take action in that regard, Mr. Sell, that's correct?
Just direction from council.
Just direction from council. We'll need to do that with a vote then in that regard. Then I'll entertain a motion that it be received.
So moved.
Second.
In a second. Any questions for Mr. Sell in this regard? Hearing none then, Ms. Adams?
Mr. Airwood,
Yes.
Ms. Bookert,
Yes.
Mr. Dumas,
Yes.
Mr. Bettis,
Yes.
Ms. Albert,
Yes.
Mayor Danner.
Yes. Council, I have no items for executive session, and the administrator presented none for executive session. We stand adjourned.